All right, hello and welcome to the RTR Bowling Show. This is the RTR Bowling channel on YouTube. If you were looking for something else, you are in the wrong place. This is our quarterly bowling show. We will cover a number of topics and just a couple of ground rules before we begin. Number one, this is part news from Rhode Island bowling, part local competition like tournaments and things like that, and mostly just for entertainment, stupid humor kind of stuff. So if you take yourself too seriously, or if you're looking for some hardcore bowling news only, you'll probably not want to stay very long. It probably won't be for you. But if you're interested in a little bit of fun and you want to hear about bowling in a couple of leagues here in Langs and a couple of leagues throughout the state, and you want to have a laugh or two, you can come laugh at me, okay? Also in that vein, I just want to say that all of our fans and haters are welcome alike. Feel free to leave a comment and all that stuff. But the people among you who are unfun people, who are taking themselves pretty seriously, you're not going to find this of interest and probably should just keep scrolling along. But for the rest of you, we're glad you're here. Hopefully you'll hit the subscribe button. You can join the other 12 subscribers that we have. And join this wacky community that we're in. Hit the like button, all that stuff that helps the channel, and we appreciate you being here, and hopefully look forward to having some fun. Since this is our first show, I do want to go over a couple of things about what we're going to cover. Every quarterly show, this will be a quarterly show, we'll have a couple of different things that we're going to cover. First of all, we'll do a product showcase, and most of them will be actual products that we use. We'll do a thing called Grab Bag of Randomness, where I might just give you something that happened in the world of bowling here in Rhode Island, or just something that's just completely random. We'll do league recaps and previews. Currently, we're going to do the Langs Invitational League on Wednesday night, the Union Camp League on Sunday here at Langs. I would like to also cover the Tuesday Night League at Old Mountain and the Tuesday Night League at East Providence if I can. Just to try to get a better look throughout the state. So if you're in one of those leagues and you'd like to see your league featured on this video, help us out by giving us a recap of what happened in your league, or send us your video and things like that going on in your league, and we'll try to include it here on the show. Again, it'll be quarterly, so we'll do the next show. This is September, so we'll do the next one around Thanksgiving time, and then we'll do one right after the break, and then one to wrap up the season. In addition to league recaps and previews, we might make some predictions and things like that. Again, it's just for entertainment. So, if we pick your team to lose, or if one of my guests picks your team to tank and get your ass whipped, please don't take it too seriously. Have some fun, enjoy yourself. Again, it's just for entertainment, so have fun and relax a little bit, okay? We also might do a segment called Woof Woofs, or what I call Woof Woofs, and those are basically just shout-outs for guys who had big scores or had really good performances that quarter or whatever. So that's called Woof Woofs, and we'll do some of that. Tournament trails, we'll do some stuff about some tournament recaps, and maybe even preview some tournaments that are coming up. I know this show we do have a couple of tournaments that we're going to preview, so we'll do that segment on a regular basis. And the last one we have, we'll do a sponsor spotlight. Okay, so again, for those of you who are new to this channel, most of our stuff is kind of for fun. So if you hear a wacky, crazy sponsor, there's a good shot that it doesn't really exist. So don't take it too seriously. Just have fun, relax. Okay, so now on to our first show. Now that we're all set up and ready to go, welcome to the RTR Bowling Show. Welcome to our quarterly show. This is quarter show number 1, and we will be covering the Langs Invitational League, the Tuesday Night League at East Providence, a couple of tournaments that have already happened, the 1000th NEBA, as well as the Warrior Classic that was held at Langs, and we also will be previewing the Rhode Island Masters that's coming up, as well as maybe the Rhode Island Open. Okay? Stick around. Okay, so for our league preview section, or our league review preview, the Langs Invitational League, again this year, 40 teams of 5, 200 bowlers. Basically, most of the top bowlers in the state are bowling the league. We are missing a few. But for the most part, if you're a good bowler in Rhode Island, you're probably bowling league on Wednesday night. If not, you're probably bowling one of the other leagues we're going to cover. But basically, 40 teams of 5, well over $100,000 in prize fund. Lots of really good bowling, lots of really good entertainment, and hopefully we'll have lots of stuff to bring you this season. We've had 1 week in the league. The league started off with a couple of usual suspects having some success. So in week 1 of the Langs Invitational League, 3 teams went 4-0 and shot 3,300 total pins for 3 games. And those teams were the John Van Hees team, a team called Too Easy, which is Marty Jones's team, and the Pink Fluffy Unicorns. All 3 of those teams started off 4-0, and they knocked down more than 3,300 pins. They're the only 3 teams in the league to do that, and so those are your early front runners. Okay, for the John Van Hees team, first of all, that team has John Van Hees, Kenny Baker, Julian Horan, and Jordan Hornick on that team, in addition to a few other people who are going to sub for them. That is a very strong team. Those guys are all coming in a little lower than what they're capable of, I think. Like Julian and Jordan are really on the rise. So those guys have a long way to get in and get up. And they're going to be one of the higher average teams in the league, I'm sure. And Kenny Baker looks like he's throwing the ball really, really well. So that is a team to be reckoned with, in my opinion. And again, they started off 4-0, 3,300 pins, and John did not bowl this week. So that could be a very strong team. The Too Easy team is basically Rob, Cy, Marty Jones, David Lewis Jr., and Marty Jones and company. Very similar to the team they had last year. They added Justin Innes. I'm not sure if Justin bowled with them last year or not, but Justin is a guy who's going to be way above last year's average. He's gotten a lot better, so their team is also going to be tough. And again, they started off pretty well, so that's another team that should be pretty strong. And a team that has been very strong for a number of years. In fact, they've had maybe among the best record in the league over the last 10 years, and had pretty much the same team as the Pink Fluffy Unicorns, our personal arch nemesis. We have kind of a rivalry going with those guys. It's mostly friendly. Not that I like them very much, but those guys are really good, and they're basically the same team they had last year. They're bringing in Jimmy Weeks this year. They have Jeff Sprague and Mark Thompson, Chris Gerard, and George Vial. So that team started off really good, and they're a pretty tough team. Good continuity there with their lineup. And again, we want to crush them, and hopefully we will get a chance to. But that team started off pretty good, and they look pretty hot early. And Jimmy Weeks, I think, is going to be a really good, steady addition for that team. So those are your 3 teams that started over 4-0, and they started off with 3,300 pins. Again, sorry, my throat is very dry. 4-0 plus 3,300 pins for the week, and those, in my opinion, those are your front runners. In fact, I would say the Van Hees team or Scotty Bourgette's team, which is another team that has some young talent on that team, and a team that can really go way above where they were average-wise last year. Those are the 2 teams I think that could win a half this year, the Scott Bourgette team and the John Van Hees team. For individual honors, Kenny Baker shot 300 in week 1. Actually, Darren Love led the league with 780. Alex Carden, who has had a big couple of weeks and maybe even a couple of months now, and a good summer, shot 769. And let's see, we had Jimmy Savasta shot 758. And Jalen Scott Jones was about 5th, I think, in the league with 748. So he's going to sub again this year. And obviously, Rhode Island's #1 bowler from last year, top 5 the year before. He is going to be a force, depending on how many times he gets to bowl. So a good week for those guys. Alex Carden, Darren Love, Jimmy Savasta, Kenny Baker with a 300, and Jalen Scott Jones 748 as well. All right, so on to the next league. The Tuesday Trios League in East Providence. This is a league that I subbed in last year. I don't know a ton about the league. I know they use a point system, match points, 30-point system, I believe. Very, very, very competitive league. A little smaller than the Wednesday Night League at Langs, but it has a lot of really good bowlers in it. They bowl on a tougher pattern. They don't bowl in the house shot. Very strong, competitive night of bowling for them. They bowled 4 games, I believe, and it's match points. And the Spicy Nuts, which is a team with Bob DiMuccio on it, started off 28-2. The league high for the week was 937 by Ryan Watson, and John Matuna shot 289 to lead the high game list. Okay, I think the Spicy Nuts looks like they have a pretty strong team on paper with Bob DiMuccio and company on that team, so that could be a pretty good team to watch, and it should be an interesting season for them over there on Tuesday Night Trios at East Providence. Now, I would like to preview the Union Camp League. Unfortunately, I don't have the Union Camp roster. They have not started yet, so as soon as they get started, we will be able to bring you some kind of update in the next quarter, hopefully. It should be a very good league again this year. It's been around for, 147,000 years. The dinosaurs still roam the lanes over there in that league, which is fine. And they've had some really good young players come in that league in the last couple of years too. So should be a fun league to keep an eye on, and I will try to do my best to get us plenty of updates from the Union Camp League at Lang's on Sunday morning. Okay, for Woof Woofs this quarter show, we have a number of Woof Woofs. Unfortunately, I don't have as many as I would like. There should be lots and lots and lots. Basically, the ones I have, these are from the summer. Shout out and thanks to New England Bowling Facebook page for posting most of these honor scores, which is where I got them from. So thank you, New England Bowling Facebook page for that. So what we have for honor scores and big outings for our local bowlers, and basically this is just Rhode Island guys or guys that are pretty prominent in our area. Not all of them are Rhode Island guys, but some of the more prominent names from the end of the summer. Okay, I didn't go back very far. Again, I apologize. The season has just started, so I just want to throw some names in there. So these are the ones that we threw in there, and some of these are obviously some big scores. Kenny Baker obviously shot 300 this week at Langs. Jalen Scott Jones, who shot 826 at the Warrior event, he finished second at. He shot 826 for the first 3 in that event. Good bowling by him. Chris Vialli started his league night. I believe that's in Connecticut. He shot 806 his first night out of league. Good bowling by Chris Vialli. Jay Matthew, who had multiple 800s over the summer and multiple 800s over the season, he started his league with 827, I believe, in league. He also had a very long string, I think 28 in a row at one point in league. So a very good summer for Jay Matthew, and obviously, very talented bowler. Probably going to be a top 5 player this year in the rankings. So good bowling by him. Bob DiMuccio shot 833 not too long ago, a couple weeks ago. I believe that was at a tournament. And Joey Transu shot 300 at NEBA, which was a big deal. I know that the NEBA 300 that I have is one of my more prized honor scores. Joey has probably 25,000 of them. But he had 300 NEBA at the 1,000th NEBA event, so great bowling by Joey. He actually is looking very good, both at the end of the summer in tournament play, and obviously start off pretty good in league. So Joey should be having a big year this year. Also, another new name, Cam Beardsley. The same night that Jay Matthews shot his 300 earlier in the summer in league, Cam Beardsley shot 300, 857. Pretty amazing scores by him. That is a guy who is going to be very, very tough to deal with in the coming years. Just a young kid, and he can really bowl. So congratulations to Cam Beardsley. I also had 2 800s this summer somehow, some way. It was at Lang's, obviously. They're pretty scoreable there. But there were lots of scores this summer throughout the state. So good bowling by everybody who shot scores. If you have any other ones, please leave them in the comments. We'd like to get as many shout outs as we can. I know a lot of guys bowl in some different leagues, and we'd appreciate all the help we can recognizing those guys who shot 800 or 300. I know that sometimes we downplay the honor scores. I personally don't like that. I think an honor score is an honor score, and we should be celebrating them even though there are 100 more than there used to be. Next. Okay, so for our tournament trails edition for this quarter, there were 2 major tournaments, or at least one major tournament that's happened over the summer. That was a big deal, and that was the NEBA 1000 tournament. I bowled in the event, and it was a very good event. I thought it was a very scoreable pattern, even though I shot a gazillion under. I thought it was pretty scoreable. I thought the where you needed to play was pretty defined. And if you did the right thing with the ball, it was really scoreable. And obviously the scores were very big for a number of guys. There were a number of honor scores. Like we said, Joey Transu shot 300, and a few other guys did as well. But the match play portion of the event was probably the most exciting match play portion of NEBA I've seen in maybe a few years, since they've been live streaming. I thought this one was as exciting as I've seen. Alex Aguiar making a deep run all the way to the title number 28 for him. He defeated Nate Clark in the championship match. Nate Clark, I think, now has 2 seconds, maybe 3. He definitely has 2 seconds, and he has a number of the top finishes. Nate is probably the most improved bowler in our area in the last year or two. He has really come a long way in the last year. We got people saying hello. So good bowling by Nate. Congratulations to Nate. Congratulations to Alex Aguiar for his 28th NEBA title, and I believe this year back to being a Rhode Island bowler. Last year he would have been the #1 bowler in Rhode Island had he been considered a Rhode Island bowler, which he was not because he did not bowl in a Rhode Island league. This year, back to bowling league in Rhode Island, we're hoping that Alex Aguiar will be a Rhode Island contender for Bowler of the Year. The other event we're going to cover is the Warrior Kickoff Classic that was held at Langs here last weekend. That event was won by Alex Carden, who has had a very good summer, bowled very well this summer, has really come a long way, really worked hard in his game, obviously, as well. But he defeated Jalen Scott Jones 257-189 in the title match. I believe Alex was the 3rd seed. Yeah, he was the 3rd seed in that tournament. He shot like 1230 or something. Jalen Scott Jones actually led the qualifying with 1277, including an 826 to start the first 3 games. Obviously, you know, Jalen is outstanding, very good bowler. Sean Richard, who actually qualified 2nd for that event, he shot 1274 and really came on late and closed the gap between him and Jalen. And then in the match play portion, Leo Bastine, in the stepladder portion, Leo Bastine defeated myself 215-190, I think, in the opening round. He went on to face Alex Carden, the 3 seed. Alex beat him, and then he beat Sean in a really close match, 258-253, I think it was. And then he had to face Jalen in the final and came away with the victory, 257-189, I think it was. So great bowling by Alex Carden. Good job. Congratulations to you. I believe his 2nd RTR title and his first scratch title of the season. So good for him. Now on to a couple of preview events coming up. The first one is the Rhode Island Masters, which is coming up here in just a couple of weeks. That event is being held at Cranston, Bolero Cranston. I know a number of bowlers who are planning on making that the big event of their fall season. I will definitely be bowling, providing that I can still get down the lane at that point. Having some issues with my hand and my wrist and my feet and all that stuff. Getting old sucks. But I plan on bowling that event. Hopefully you guys out there are as well. That is being, again, held 23rd and 24th at Bolero Cranston. That's the Rhode Island Masters. I think that it's going to be a great event. I think there's going to be lots of people there this year. They've opened it up again to everybody, not just Rhode Island bowlers, which I do believe is a good decision. I also think that Jalen Scott Jones is bowling very well, and I think that we are about to see Jalen Scott Jones capture his 3rd Rhode Island Masters title. Again, I could be wrong, but I would not bet against Jalen that weekend at Bolero on the Rhode Island Masters patterns that they're going to come up with. The other event that we're going to discuss is the brand new Major Bowling Scratch Series, which is supposed to kick off November 5th at East Providence Lanes. Stephen Major, Aaron Major, and a number of those guys got together and have come up with an alternative scratch event that I believe is going to be monthly, so that's exciting. I don't think we have enough scratch events here in Rhode Island. I think there's more demand for that, and these guys have stepped up, and they are going to run a scratch series at least for this coming season. Hopefully it'll do well, and it'll be successful. We plan on bowling that one as well, November 5th at East Providence Lanes. It's a major bowling scratch series. So if you're in the area, you're looking to bowl something on November 5th, you don't have anything else, check that one out. Again, I think he's guaranteeing $1,000 for first, and taking the top 8 or the top 16 to match play guaranteed. So it should be a good event. It sounds like they're doing a good job promoting the event. So if they do a great job running it, I'm sure it'll be a great event, and it should be really competitive because they should be able to draw pretty well there at East Providence. Okay, so there's your tournament trails segment of the show. Now we're moving on to the next part. Okay, to end the show, my grab bag of randomness is about nicknames. And I had 3 or 4 of these laid out, and I'm going to go with the nickname one only because I have not used my own nickname for a number of years. I'm going to try to, get that out there a little bit more and try to, be my old self. That's one of the things I've been working on. So my nickname has been Cujo, and the story behind that is, well, it's kind of a long story, but basically, I bit somebody during a football game, and since that day, people have been calling me Cujo. And my bowling nickname was Cujo for a while, but when I started really stinking, nobody really cares about your nickname when you don't bowl well. So hopefully I'll bowl well, and that nickname can revive itself or be reborn, or I don't know, maybe it'll refester, or I don't know what the right term is. But anyway, some of my favorite nicknames of all time. Some of these guys are local guys. Some of these guys obviously are big name national guys. But I bowl with a guy named Lester Sandals Moses. His last name was Moses, and they called him Lester Sandals. I don't know why, but he was known to say he was a sand merchant. He liked them when they were really dry, and he talked about always bowling in the sand and all that stuff. So Lester Sandals, maybe one of my favorite nicknames of all time. There was also a guy in that same league in Georgia. His name was Mikey the Wrench, and they called him Mikey the Wrench because obviously he had gigantic hands, and he really just like rolled over the ball and kind of like muscled it. Wasn't the greatest of bowlers. He was actually a really good guy, but it wasn't the greatest of bowlers. But his hand action was so like over exaggerated. They called him Mikey the Wrench. I think his last name was Williams. Mikey Williams. It was a long time ago, but Mikey the Wrench was pretty good. I also love a local guy, Joey Sizzle. Joey doesn't really use that nickname very often anymore, but Joey Transu, they used to call him Joey Sizzle. I thought that was a great nickname because obviously Joey can really bowl, and when he's really hot, he sizzles. I thought that was great. So Joey Sizzle Transu, I thought was pretty good. Another one I think is pretty good is the local guy, Stevie Wheel, Stevie Dale. Stephen Dale goes by The Wheel, Stevie the Wheel. I think that's a great name. I don't know why more people don't think that's great, but I like that nickname. So Stevie Wheel, obviously maybe the most famous one of all time, and probably the best one, Rudy Revs, Rudy Casamakis, Rudy Revs. A great nickname, very appropriate, great. And when your nickname is more well known than your actual name, you know you got a good nickname. So Rudy Revs, pretty good. Another one, or the last one for today anyway. I think it's pretty good. Even though I think Sean Richard is a great guy, and he's not really as cutthroat as he'd like you to believe. The name Shawnee Cash really fits. So Sean Cash Richard, great nickname, fantastic bowler, great guy, one of my friends. So I enjoy that nickname as well. And that is your spotlight on the grab bag of randomness segment for our quarterly show. Before we go, I did not say this earlier, but I did want to say that we do have a product showcase for this quarterly event, and this is the JoPo thumb system, the just click it, or I think they just twist it, or whatever they call it. This is obviously the tool, and this is how you take out the inner piece. Okay, the inner piece has these great little tabs, 3 of them, not just 2. Then it has these great little corkscrew grooves in it that helps the thumb become nice and secure in the ball. And You can twist it and you can hear it snapping really well in place. So this JoPo system, I think is the best thumb system on the market. And obviously, I've decided to switch over this season myself. All my equipment has been switched over, or is being switched over, to JoPo. This is their JoPo thumb system, the Twist It, or thumb twist, or just twist it. I don't know what they call it. But this is your product spotlight for this quarterly show. If you had a good time, you enjoyed yourself, please come back. We're going to have some guests, and maybe even some guests that'll be alive. There's a good shot that some of our guests will not actually be living humans, but we will have some guests for the next one for sure. I promise you we will have guests for the next show. And again, that show will be out just before Thanksgiving, okay? If you had a good time, please press the like button, subscribe. You can join the other 12 people, as I said. You can be lucky number 13, maybe, perhaps. I'm not really sure what our subscriber number is up to. It's not very many. But feel free to hit subscribe, hit the like, notification bell. I'm not sure that's even on there, but if you are interested, do that. And for the next show, we're going to have some highlights, some video, hopefully, of some tournament play, maybe some league action, things like that. So if you're interested, come back and join us. Keep an eye out on RTR Bowling channel on YouTube for our next show, as well as check out the other videos on there. Otherwise, have a great time. Enjoy yourself this week. Hopefully all your great shots are strikes, and all your splits get broken up, okay? Thank you, guys. Have a great time. Woof, woof. Let's go.